Hey, welcome. Okay, this is WKRB 90.3 FM, and welcome to the General Talk podcast, the podcast where we say what you're thinking and we also express how you feel. Okay, I'm your host, Vic-Tor, aka just call you your man Vic, and I have an interesting lineup of guests here with me today. So let's go ahead and start off with a roll call.
Hi, I'm Ebony.
Hey, I'm Jasmine.
Hey, this is Amore.
Hey, this is your guy Kon.
Okay, and we all in the building. So we're going to go ahead and discuss some things that most people consider controversy, which is disciplinary action when it comes to kids or even your own personal upbringing, okay? So for starters, this lineup is interesting because we have a millennial who doesn't have kids, but obviously you've been raised by your parents or, a parent figure. And then we have a millennial who does have a kid. And then we have a Gen X who have kids. And then we also have we have a Gen Z. Y'all, pull out the pacifiers. The pacifiers and the baby bottles.
Right.
So we have a Gen Z with no kids. Okay. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So what do y'all equate abuse as?
Abuse is beating somebody.
Cursing
at somebody. That's my opinion. You put your hands on your kid, you curse them out, that's abuse.
Okay.
I believe that abuse is any action that causes long-term harm or trauma.
Gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha. Anyone else have an opinion on that?
No, I was pretty much gonna say trauma, just like over there. Anything that has some sort of trauma, it doesn't have to be physical,
That's nice.
I feel like abuse comes in many different forms, and at times we don't even know when we're being abused. Sometimes, it comes in different forms.
There really are different forms of abuse. You have mental abuse, verbal abuse, physical abuse. Okay, so can we define disciplinary action? Define that for me, please.
Okay, so for me, because yes, I do not have kids, but I do have nieces. For me, disciplinary action is sometimes can look extreme, but the point of discipline is to teach your child the wrong in what they have done and not to do it again. And for me, that looks like you want to waste food, you want to spill this, spill that. Okay, you may not think it's, I'm pretty good, I might get some disagreements here, but if you are going around my house spilling food, wasting food, you're going to get on your hands and knees and walk around and play around in that food that you wanted to spill because you wanted to waste food and now you're going to play with it. Let's say you want to spill rice. All right, now crawl on it and pick it up grain by grain. You would never forget that. People may call it abuse, but I call that discipline. That's a hard lesson of why you should not waste food and an immediate reaction of what happens if you waste food.
Yeah. Anyone concur?
I would say I would do that discipline a little different. I wouldn't have them like stepping it, playing it, but definitely, hey, you dropped it. Like, let's come clean this up. Let's get the tools that we need. And when this does happen, this is what we do. We fix it. And, hopefully the next time this happens, then you don't have to come to me. Hey, let me go grab this broom or let me grab this rag and let me clean this up.
Interesting.
Yeah, and
I agree.
And I agree with her there. And when I say discipline and when I explain what I'm talking about, that means when you try that the first time and they still do it. You tried it the second time and they still do it. So it's like, I've taught you the steps of an action has a reaction. And now that we got to this point that this is a continuous behavior, now since you want to waste my rice, get down on your knees and pick it up grain by grain. And because a broom is an assistant.
Right.
A broom is 1, 2, 3, and I'm done.
Okay, but thing is, Ebony, you coming from, I'm assuming, your personal experience, or
this
you
is
just
me
coming
as
off
this is as a personal experience dealing with my nieces.
Yeah, okay, your nieces.
I had spent 2 months taking care of my nieces full time. So I took that time of saying, hey, this is what happens when you waste food. Now I'm gonna show you how to clean it up. And I've done that 3-4 times. And I turn around, there's still rice on the floor. I turn around, there's still rice on the pot, like on the stove, no lid, no nothing.
Okay, so let's talk about the physiological changes within the psyche when it comes to disciplinary action for those who have kids. Because there's a saying that mama bears, that's a real thing, that once a female have a kid, there's this psychic link, should we say, or the level of empathy. You know, yes, you can have empathy when it comes to your nieces and nephews, the family, but there's more of a maternal instinct and need to protect your kid.
Yeah.
And so I'm just gonna go ahead and sway that conversation to those who actually have kids. And I just want to get your take on that as well, because discipline does come and go, but I'm pretty sure you're not going to be willing to do hard disciplinary action towards your nieces and nephews.
No,
maybe with the consent
not
of
every time.
your family member, but for someone who have kids, I'm just kind of curious as far as what are your disciplinary actions and what would you do for your kids? Then I'm going to go give this to Amore.
Yeah, so, and it's crazy how everything you're saying, you don't have no kids, but I see you and you feel it, even though you don't have no kids. So that's a beautiful thing. When my kids were younger, my daughter's 30, she's going to be 31 in July.
Ooh.
With autism. So that's been rough. And my son is 28. So when they were younger, I believe I hit them maybe one time, and that crushed me. That crushed me. Never put my hands on them again. And what I used to do was just like take away the games, music, the stuff that they loved. So if you're not gonna do what I'm saying, then I'm gonna take these things away from you for a while. And that worked for the most part, right? Because nobody's perfect. And especially if we as adults, we not doing the right thing all the time, kids that don't know any better. So people want to go so hard on the kids.
Right.
And
they're just kids.
Us, like, exactly. They just
don't
kids.
know.
They still trying to, we have to teach them.
Right.
So if anything, that's on us.
Ah,
Right?
okay.
Pero,
Preaching.
not to. Listen, I'm going to be 51. So, and I've been learning so much, especially that I have, a son, right? And he's dealing with his own stuff, and I have to be there for him. And then my daughter with a disability. So I have more than one hat that I can tell you my experience. But definitely, I just want to say that to me, I don't want people laying their hands on me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to do that to my kids. I don't want them to have that memory of, man, I got beat.
Right.
I had to do better because I got beat. Like, there should be a better way, a calmer way for them to say, like, my son told me, it's like, Ma, you used to be a A sometimes, right? But he says, like, you did amazing and thank you, because I wouldn't be who I am right now.
Right. That's
You would
nice.
have been in the streets and stuff.
Okay,
So
That's strong. I love
I
that.
wanna hear what Gen Z gotta say, though.
Especially from a Gen X perspective, because most Gen Xers grew up to the physical disciplinary action when it comes to their folks. And so I find it very
that's me. I'm
refreshing.
a Gen X.
Mhm.
Okay.
Very refreshing and rewarding that you have taken a different approach. And to raise a kid with autism, I mean, honestly, my heart just goes
Kudos
out
to
to you
you,
guys,
yes.
because that's
It's
a lot of
crazy
work,
hard, bro.
and I have to give it to you. So that's beautiful, and what you are exhibiting with your discipline as a parent is considered negative reinforcement. So if the kid is acting up, you take something away. And if they are good, you give it back to them. Then that's positive reinforcement, and that is pretty much a behavioral psychological trick that we do, that most people do unconsciously,
Can I add
aware of
something?
it. So that's pretty dope.
So right now, I'm sorry, I just wanted to add something. Right now with my daughter, as she's older, she wants independence, but she can't really, right? Because she can't be on her own. She can't really take care of herself. So it's been hard, and the taking away,
It doesn't work no
it
more.
doesn't work, because she knows, like, And I guess she feels like, yeah, I'm older
I'm
or
an
whatever.
adult. Yeah.
Even though in her mind she's not that older.
Right.
So yeah, that's not working. So it's been hell, and I'm still not gonna put my hands on her. So I just gotta, you know what I do? I go in the bathroom, I cry it out, I scream it out, I punch into the wall, and whatever I need to do. That's why I have this hat on.
I mean, you got to do what you have to do, honestly. Like, and I pray that there's some balance that you eventually come to. And you know, there's a thing like me growing up. Like, I'm a millennial, and I grew up with all forms of disciplinary action.
Yeah.
The verbal, the physical, the mental. Now, did it come a time where it kind of felt like abuse? Yes.
Yes.
Have there been times where I actually look back and be like,
I needed
thanks,
that.
Dad. I needed that. Thanks, Dad. So there's a fine line between all of that, and some of the things my father did not discipline me, I found out the hard way when I went out into the world.
Yeah.
And that gave me the discipline that could have been avoided. You know, that could have been something that could have been completely avoided only if my father was a little bit more strict with me. So it was things like that. So I do understand, but I know you don't want to just sit here and just let your daughters go out there because you know what's going to happen. So your approach, it sounds to me like your approach is struggling right now and you're looking for a different approach.
Yes. Because she has a disability and she, no matter what, she really doesn't understand. Like my son will understand. She doesn't understand like that. So, you know.
Yeah.
All right, so can I jump in real quick? I
just want to ask Quan.
That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. So we definitely just talked a lot about discipline.
Okay.
So now we're going to turn it over to the Gen Z. Gen Z. Okay. What's your take on it? Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, growing up, I think a good part that I wanted to talk about was that you guys talk about disciplinary action, and I feel like abuse comes in when the disciplinary action doesn't have a correct consequence or purpose. That's when it becomes an abuse, you know?
I'm sorry, just elaborate a little bit more on that.
Well, please, like discipline, when you discipline, it's usually for a reason, right? And you guys are talking about how we can unconsciously and consciously do it all the time. When there's like a legitimate reason, like you're not going to school, you're not doing your homework, okay, we take something you value and we take it away from you to make you understand that loss is because of what you did.
Right.
Okay.
Without explaining it to a child, right? But there are times when you can make that kind of abuse, and not just physically, you know, you could just be like, I'm tired, like I don't want to hear my kid doing this, like I'm going to take this away, and you go, you know, and there's just, I think that's where abuse comes in. It's like if it's not for a purpose, you know?
Right.
Because when I was trained, like growing up, it's like, you don't want to go to school, you're going to school. That's a discipline. You know, you feel this way about it. You feel, it doesn't matter how you feel, you have to show up. You have to go, you have to continue, you know.
Yeah.
When there's a point of trying to get something, you know, like hitting isn't going to help.
Right.
Because
it's
being
not
physical, especially maybe from a young age when there's no communication, like small like instances of like, you know, your kid doesn't understand anything from being a baby, you know.
Right.
You give it a smack on the butt just to be like, no, like, you know, like that doesn't work. But at an older age, it's you need to get some kind of communication with the child, you know. And the only reason I know this is because I had two sisters growing up, and I had to like kind of watch what worked and what didn't work, you know.
Yeah, I just wanted to I was saving the Gen Zer for last for creative purposes. Why? Because you're still coming of age, getting new to this world. So now you're hearing shared experiences from those before you.
Oh yeah.
Thus allowing you to understand our perspectives, and just want to know from a fresher take, do you relate with these forms of disciplinary actions? Can you correlate with them? Do you see yourself eventually implementing these types of structures when you have a kid, or maybe like your nieces and nephews?
Oh yeah. I mean,
Ebony explained.
I mean, again, like my parents, first of all, being immigrants, so they came from a different place. So it's a little different than here, I feel like, disciplining. And the time as well. I mean, there was more allowability. For example, one time that I remember getting, you could say just like physical when I was younger, is because I had a lot of trouble reading because I knew 2 languages. And that didn't stem from an abuse of, I want my child to get better. That was like, I don't want my child to be like me in this country, and I need them to succeed. But
Right.
that wasn't the kind of reinforcement I needed, you know?
Right.
And it took me later in life to understand why that even happened the way it did, you know?
Right.
But in the other ways, the things I've highly valued, like I love to, for example, go and teach piano or do piano lessons. And my
Nice.
parents saw that. One day I did something bad. I got a call from school, you know, like got into an altercation. And the mom's like, what does he like value so highly? And it was this. And she's like, well, you're not going to this. And it like, you know, tantrums, you know, you're like, I can't believe I can't go. Like, you know, I'm like, I'm used to getting everything, but it was effective, you know?
But why would that negative reinforcement apply? Like, did you do something wrong? Did you?
Yeah, it was like I did something wrong in school, you know, for
Okay.
example. It was just like I threw a ball of yarn at like some kid, I think, or something like that, for just being annoying, you know? And
That didn't even hurt.
Right.
and I didn't get like my part of the
Right.
story you heard or whatever, but
Right.
the point was like, I can't be getting calls from school like this, you know?
Did you change your behavior though? Was that effective for you?
Yeah, I mean, it made me think twice about what I'm gonna do and what it leads back to. Obviously, as a kid, you try to be a little conniving, so it's like you want to be like, I want to get away with things without
Yeah.
getting a call home. So
Mhm.
I'll try to like negotiate with my teachers. So, you know, kids are cunning, you know.
Right.
Right.
But at the same time, it did make me understand that like there's better way to deal with things, you know. If I didn't get physical, for example, would I have ever gotten that call? You know, if I would have just like expressed myself in some way or talked to that person in some way, even saying like negative things to them or something like that, right? But at least maybe it wouldn't have been so quick to be like, oh, you got physical with the student, I'm calling your parents, you know.
Okay.
So all of that kind of came in together, like layered. And then having two sisters, that helped me a lot in my life, because like I always had to think back that there's two little girls at home waiting for me. So whatever I do outside of school is gonna come back,
Yeah.
you know,
It
or
reflects on
some
you.
guy is gonna do something like that to them, you know. So it's always like you have to have a higher standard for yourself.
For sure.
Interesting.
Love
Yeah.
So, Jasmine, I kind of want to bring it to you, okay? Because how old is your kid?
My daughter is 4.
So you have a 4-year-old daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So
Milani.
Milani, hey, shout out Milani. So let's kind of like sway off the topic of discipline. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about the factors when it comes to abuse. Okay, because this like I said, when everyone think of discipline, they automatically go to the physicality of you know
Right.
like which is abusive. They always go to the physicality when discipline is ever brought up. So with you and your 4-year-old, have there ever been times in which you just felt, okay, maybe in the beginning she was crying a lot, or maybe she just demands so much of your time, and you just had a tendency where you just need to set her down and just kind of like mentally block her out, and you did it, and then a feeling of regret or
For
a
sure.
feeling of, okay, am I neglecting my child? Have those moments ever arise? And when they do you see it as a form of neglecting, or do you see it as a form of just taking a mental break?
So me and Milani definitely have those moments where she can get overstimulated, and it will get me overstimulated. And going back, when I was younger, my father used to really abuse me. So
Millennials.
yes,
you know.
yes.
I don't.
So I
you
am
don't.
trying to stop that.
Right.
But at times, you know, it could get a lot. It could be overstimulating.
Right.
And at times, yes, I do have to be like, Milani, like, I need 5 minutes. Please just stay here in your room while I go get myself together. Because, you know, sometimes with no help. And, you know, besides her, I also have a life, right? I come to school, I work, and then going home to her, you know, I just had a whole day.
Right.
I also need to come home and decompress. She's also had a long day at school as well. You know, when she want to come home, she want to just go straight to the tablet. And then when I be like, hey, Ma, it's time for us to take a bath. No, I don't want to because I want to play my tablet. And it's like, baby girl, you've been on it all day. Come on, now, let's do what we got to do. And when you're done, you could play with it for more, like 15 more minutes. And then when it's time for bed. And sometimes, I have to like really like, all right, girl, just do what you do. Give me 5-10 minutes and we could come back. And then, like, if I ever do get out of character, I definitely do apologize to my child, and I let her know, like, I just got crazy with you, and I'm sorry that I just got crazy.
Definitely.
But sometimes you get me there, and so I definitely check in with me and her.
Amen.
Yeah, no,
That's good.
That's a
good.
big thing.
That's good.
That's a big thing for me, especially because going back to what you said about like life lessons and learning things from the street if you don't get it at home. Being that I am a millennial who doesn't have kids, I am that disciplinary figure of I'm gonna teach you in the home the life lessons you would get out on the street.
Right.
So you're in a safe space to learn the lesson before you get out in the street. But again, even with that, I have to sometimes check myself of when I go too far or when I misunderstand something, that I apologize so that child knows that they are heard and that it's acknowledged when they were wrongly punished.
Right.
Because I strongly believe in that. So I definitely agree, because life lessons are not perfect. Parenting, I know it's not perfect. There's no book for that. So the biggest thing for me, and the way I feel that you can minimize abuse, because you can never tell tell what's gonna trigger a child later on, or what a child considers abuse. But I feel like one way you definitely minimize that is by, as an adult, apologizing to that child when you're wrong.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but as a kid, I was like, no, I ain't hearing it. Because
No, for sure.
no, I'm sorry.
For sure.
There's some of the discipline that came with like.
I think our discipline back in the day is very different.
Very different. I'm sorry. Like, you can say I'm sorry after the stuff been done, but I'm still looking at you like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just kind of like pinching away just a little bit, So we breaking that cycle, and that's the reason why this topic is so good to get out. It feels therapeutic, right?
Yes, love
therapeutic,
You know?
And it feels good.
Okay,
It feels good. And I just want to ask a quick question. I'm going to go ahead and bring the Gen Zer back in here, you know what I'm saying? Just come on, take him out the crib. Come on, come back over here.
What's up? What's up?
How old are
What you got?
again?
26.
Okay.
He's
26.
He's right there on that cusp, but he's
It's
not,
like, I'm gonna adopt him.
He's not even close. He's not even close. So
I'm gonna take you home. I'm gonna
Let's
adopt
go. Let's
you.
go. I love
Yeah.
Puerto Rican food.
I know you were speaking that disciplinary action is different from your original country, from here now in the States.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel, is there a switch from when you was there to here? Did they change, adopt, evolve, or do you feel as though everything stayed the same?
Well, I was never there, so I didn't get to see it. But growing up in my community, which is an immigrant community, everyone was kind of like similar to it. Like, you did something bad, you're getting yelled at, you're getting spanked. Yeah, like you're in public, and it was kind of normal. I don't know how normal it is to like the rest of American society at the time. Like, I mean, we all kind of did the same things. One thing I would say is like, what's big that you mentioned is sometimes you need the time away. And my parents were big on letting me know that like they're annoyed of me. Like, go to your room and go play. And I had the ability to play by myself when I was an only child. So I was able to just go to my Legos and do my thing. And it just taught me that like later in life with people is like when someone's getting a little annoyed, aggressive, they just need some like space, they need a boundary. And I learned that from my parents,
I love that. That's actually a great approach, and I love that mindset.
It wasn't so easy. Sometimes you get the like, what the hell did you read? And I'm like, okay.
But at the same time, some people see that's a form of discipline. Go to your room. But some people see that alienation as a form of discipline. That's the reason I was asking Jasmine, when you step away, do you feel a moment of neglecting? Because the alienation can consider be mental abuse.
It's a work. It's like a method.
It's a form of discipline. So there really is a fine line between discipline and also abuse, and sometimes we just gotta make sure not to blur it. And it's a real fragile thing in our lives, especially being parents. And you have a kid that's older, you have a kid that's still coming up into his being. So I'm hoping that you learn a lot, just, as you grow, becoming your motherhood, that you just, find ways to ensure that your kid is safe, is taken care of, and make sure that she's not walking off on the deep end without the need of excessive force, either mentally, physically, and all the goodlies,
Right.
Except for lovely, just,
I wanted to bring up just one example. It's like, you ever remember you're like walking with your kid or whatever, nephew, niece, sisters, you're crossing the street, you're waiting for the white light, but they're trying to take that step because they don't know no better, and you freak out.
Right,
because you need them to understand that this is like life or death. Like this is like, you're scaring me. I'm emotionally up there right now. There's no way for me to calmly tell you like you need to show the kid that this is gonna cause a bad reaction.
Right. So how do you do that though?
Honestly,
exactly. And you can't tell.
I tell my daughter. I try to be so real with her.
I'm sorry, but you gotta sometimes you
gotta scare the life out of them.
You have to scare
I'd be like, girl, you want to be unalived? Like,
and it's not even on purpose. It's like you're just genuinely up there.
I'm sorry, they're just gonna get so aloof to everything and just run after. Let me tell you this, okay? I believe in jacking them up just a little bit. I ain't talking about screaming out, punch.
Right.
I mean, if you just grab by the arm, like, yo,
shake them a little bit.
Don't run across the street or not, because it's just as equivalent. Okay, we all been in school, high school, middle school, whatever, and they have these little PSA videos, and they be like, drinking and driving, don't do it, and they show you like this graphic image of, someone in a car wreck and the accident happened. It's the same as that, It's graphic imagery, but it sticks within your hippocampus to remind yourself, like, yo, I'm not going to try that. I'm not want to do it.
What about that commercial with the girl that they was getting high on the couch and she like?
This flat.
Yeah, she's flat, right?
Yeah. I mean, so that mental programming. It's beneficial, and it's a form of discipline. It's a form of like the consequences of your actions if you do not heed what we're telling you, and that's an approach. It's an approach. It's no different than that's the visual approach. It's no different than just speaking it, orally speaking like than that. The physical, nobody's saying to punch your kid, but you can pick your kid up. You can grab them by the arm, like, listen.
Can I give
an ear or something?
Can I give an example real quick? Because for me, in my growing up, I wasn't really disciplined. I had a soft presence with my mother, and then I had a stern presence with my father when he was around. But it was my grandmother, and it's the simplest thing. She didn't believe in slouching. Anytime I would slouch, she slapped me in the middle of my back. And even now to this day, when I slouch,
it's like an easy reinforcement, right?
It's like I feel the hit on my back, and I immediately, like, if I wanted to, I could say that's abuse. But no, it's a lifelong memory and a lesson that I will never forget.
Yeah.
Like, there's a difference between the discipline and abuse, like what you're saying, that's discipline. It's years later and it's still in the back of your mind. Abuse is now trauma, like beating, your kid down. And let's say the kid probably didn't even do anything, Nowadays, kids are just getting abused because, again, overstimulation or don't have nobody else to come in and help. And that can do a lot to somebody's mental as well.
It really
you need to keep the kids' confidence.
Exactly.
You can't break the confidence.
You can't break the confidence. You don't need to overly stimulate them.
I think that's the
sadly,
dividing line.
that is the issue when it comes to keeping that line from blurring between discipline and abuse. But this is all that we have for today. Such a strong topic, very controversial, very emotional. And for those who know, and those, who just hearing this podcast and can just have some takeaways, I think they can listen to this and be like, okay, you know what? I can completely relate. Either regardless of, generation or having kids or not having kids, they can have some takeaways from this. And I just want to thank you all for coming on. Y'all are great guests. Y'all amazing. Y'all amazing. Amazing. So this concludes this episode of General Talk right here on WKRB 90.3 FM. I'm your host, Vic-Tor. And once again, let's go ahead and give a rundown for the guests that attended.
Ebony.
Jasmine.
Amore, God bless you guys.
Con.
Okay. All right, thank you everyone for coming through. Thanks everyone for listening. And this concludes this pod.
Thank you, Vic.
Woo!
Thank you, guys.
I'm like, oh, she tried it. She tried it.